I'm John Hinkle, the senior pastor of First Presbyterian Church in downtown Murfreesboro, and this is your Saturday morning preview of your Sunday morning sermon, which of course I'm recording on Friday. We find ourselves in this month of January actually at kind of just a few steps away from Lent being here. I know that seems crazy, but looking at the liturgical calendar, this is the earliest Easter happens. It will happen on April 4th. There's no earlier date than this date right now. That means we're almost at Lent. We got 2 Sundays, and then we're at the Transfiguration of the Lord, and then we have Ash Wednesday, and of course then it's Lent. So we only have 2 Sundays to work with. And so what I thought I would do is kind of share with you kind of my view of the world as I see it today, or at least my world. And we're going to start off with Paul's first letter to the Corinthians, which is focused on Christians eating the food of the idols, meaning food that's been sacrificed to the Greek gods and Roman gods of the time. And was it all right? And it's interesting how Paul looks at this. Paul basically says, hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with you eating the food of the idols. You can do this. As a matter of fact, in Jewish culture, there was nothing wrong with Jewish people eating food that had been sacrificed to Yahweh. In the wilderness, when they were in the wilderness, all meat had to be a sacrifice to God first, meaning God got his portion, and then the priest got their portion, and then the people got what was left. The book of Leviticus is filled with instructions about how sacrifices are distributed to the people after the sacrifice is made. Interesting enough, this is true in Greek and Roman culture too, that food that was sacrificed to the Roman gods, the Greek gods, could then be eaten by the people. But the question that's being asked of Paul by the church is it okay for Christians to eat food that has been sacrificed to a god other than our God, meaning the Greek gods or the Roman gods? And Paul's answer is yeah, because we believe in the one God. And these sacrifices that are being made to these gods, they're not really gods. And so the sacrifice is just really food. Well, glad we solved that problem. Only that solution actually butts up to another problem. There were new Christians who had just left the pagan world, and they were observing these other Christians eating the food of the Roman gods, and they started wondering, well, if it's okay to eat the food of the Roman gods, would it be okay if we still made sacrifices to those gods? And to that, Paul says, you got to be careful. Don't let your rights become a stumbling block to those who are weak. Meaning, what he was saying to the church was, yeah, it's okay to eat the sacrifices made to these Roman and Greek gods, but if by doing so you are causing your brothers and sisters in Christ to stumble, to falter, to sin, then you need to think twice. And maybe you just need to stop eating altogether. Paul is clear that everything we do, and no matter where we are, there's always going to be a reaction to our actions. And that we're responsible for our actions. Notice Paul didn't say, hey, you who are new to the faith, suck it up, be stronger. Come on. No, Paul says, to those who are strong in the faith, you have an obligation to those who are weak in the faith. It's your obligation to make sure you are not a stumbling block. My granny used to say to me all the time, just because you have the right to do it doesn't mean you should. So, as we live out our faith, we need to be aware of who's around us, We need to be aware of what we're doing and what we're saying. And we certainly need to understand that everything we say and everything we do is being watched and observed. And if we claim to follow Jesus, then what you do and what you say, well, it better look like Jesus. I hope this is a great Saturday. And I hope Sunday is a day of rest and worship for you. Have a great day.